Number 1.
The time and place never seemed right, until I found this subreddit. I rarely ever think of it, but that's mostly because I block it out. I'm a female, and when I was 25, I was in a transition period of my life. I was divorced from my husband and moving back to my home state to figure things out. My aunt had a small 1500 square foot 1950s house in a little quiet neighbourhood. Doors that stick, squeaky wood floors type of place. She was happy to let me live there for a bit anyways, and I lived there for around 5 months. This house was a single story home, but it was on a hill. So if you went around the back of the house, outside you could walk through a door into a small basement of sorts. If you were in the small basement and continued to walk toward the front of the house, you would quickly be crouching, and then crawling. It was a small concrete storage area and it was directly under my bed. One thing I remember about this place was that it was creaky and not well insulated. When you went down there, you could see light coming through the cracks in my bedroom floors. I maybe went down there once or twice, got creeped out and left. It was at the back of the house, like I said, and I had no reason to be there. Being 25 and recently leaving my husband, I will admit I had a few male suitors. They didn't really like the house either. So I get my dream job. Move out of the house and move out of state as well. My aunt has one request though. Turn the water off at the top of the street. So right before I leave, I turn it off, come back inside and turn the faucet on just to make sure. I've done my job. However, this is where fate steps in. I left the faucet turned on. I didn't turn it off and just drove away to my new life. A few days later, my aunt calls. She's upset. The water company apparently called her and said that there's an unusually high amount of water running in her house. I promised her that I turned it off, and I told her about checking the tub. So I'm out of state, she's out of state. My mom got recruited and she had to go figure out what was going on. Well, come to find out, the husband, he had been kicked out. He was living in the little room under my bedroom. He had strung an electric cord over the fence from his house. He had clothes and a toothbrush. I guess he was bathing in our yard, and then when I turned the water off, he just went right back out and turned it on again. He had been living right under my floorboards. I am tense just writing and remembering this. I never want to meet this guy. And the thought of him right under my feet, listening to me in my bedroom, it still gives me the chills.
Number 2.
This happened to me about 10 or 12 years ago, but it's the only thing I can think of that's post-worthy. Growing up, my family wasn't exactly middle class. We lived in a shitty trailer. The area we lived in actually looked okay. The yards were mowed and everything was taken care of. But anyways, it was about a week or two before Easter and I fell asleep. I woke up a couple hours later, probably around 1 or 2 a.m, and the front door was open. I figured my stepdad had just went out for a smoke and forgot to close it, since he did this sometimes. So I went ahead and closed it and just went back to bed. I didn't even think, but looking back now, I feel like an idiot for not locking the door. I got woke up again about an hour later to a lot of yelling. It was my stepdad going off. Now, in the entire time I've known him, I've never heard him yell or anything till this night, and I've never since. But someone had just walked into our house off the street, and he had been staring at me while I was sleeping, according to what my stepdad said. From what I saw though, he was a fairly skinny, long-haired man. He chased the guy out of the house, and to this day we still don't know who it was. All I know is about 5 months after this incident, one of our neighbours got busted for a meth lab in their basement. But still, ever since this happened, I don't go to sleep without locking my door, or setting the alarm I installed in my house. So to the possible crackhead that was in my house, let's not meet.